to call upon your name. All my life I've been a sinner, and for that I am ashamed.
There's a sermon in that song.
But I heard that you would listen,
Shad pretty good.
so I'm giving you my plea. I'm too unworthy, Lord, to come to you. Could you please come down to me? I know that there are others who could offer more than I promise you I'd understand that if for me you had no time. I think I've just hit bottom, but I'm looking up to see I'm too unworthy, Lord, to come to you. Could you please come down to me? I guess I must be reaping from the seeds that I have sown. Oh Lord, you owe me nothing. We haven't spoken for so long. But if you could spare some mercy, Lord, I pledge my life to Thee. I'm too unworthy, Lord, to come to you. Could you please come down to me? I know that there are others who could offer more than I promise you I'd understand that if for me you had no time. I think I just hit bottom, but I'm looking up to see I'm too unworthy, Lord, to come to you. Could you please come down to me?
Everybody pray.
I hope you'll continue to pray this morning, and hope the Lord will bless me here today, because as much as I dislike having to get up here, I love being blessed to say something when I am up here.
That's right.
You don't ever want to go into something and fail.
That's right.
Not usually.
Love hating.
But I am thankful to be here this morning. And I was thinking this morning about a lot of different things. I'm thankful that we have the crowd that we have here this morning. And you know, I told Rachel this morning, today is the day where everybody's a Christian. I'm not up here to play nice. I'm not up here to look pretty. I'm not up here to make up something for you, because I ain't got nothing to tell you. I hope the Lord will bless me here today that I can tell you something. But all I know is here that this morning, this world has turned everything that I believe in up here and everything we stand for to a joke. I'm here to tell you here in North Carolina that you can't go to school to learn how to preach this word right here. There's not a teacher in this world physically that will teach you how to get up here and preach to a congregation. If this world tells you that, if the churches tell you that, I'm telling you this morning they're wrong. Jesus had to come many, many thousands of years ago, a little over 2,000 years ago, just because of the way that we had twisted everything. We had twisted the word. We had these man-made rules. Jesus Christ had to come die because of me, because of everybody sitting in this room. We may not share anything in common this morning, but there is one thing that does bring us together. We, every single person under the sound of my voice, you are the reason that Jesus Christ died.
Amen.
You are the reason. You're guilty.
Right.
I am guilty this morning, and I stand amongst the whole entire congregation of guilty people. I don't care how good you've been in your life. I don't care what you did this morning. I don't care whose gas you paid for or whose groceries you bought. You are guilty. Just as guilty as me. Just as guilty as him. Just as guilty as these brothers.
Yeah.
We are guilty here this morning.
Not a
A little over 2,000 years ago, they took my Lord and they tried to embarrass him. They took him and they put him in front of the people. They had stripped him down. They had pulled the hair from his beard. Placed a crown of thorns upon his head. And we come in here this morning with no thought about it. But we might as well have been there. We might as well have been the ones that put that crown upon his head. Because it is our fault here this morning. Coming here guilt-free today. Everything's great. I'm here to tell you that you are at fault. Just like me. But we've got a lot to be thankful for here this morning. Because even though they killed my Lord, even though we killed my Lord, 3 days later, he was back up. He conquered death.
That's right.
I told Pilgrim's Prayer last week, I want to stand up here and preach to me. Because I don't know the hearts of anybody out there, but I know we share something in common. I want to preach to those who are confused here today, just like I was. I want to preach to those people here this morning that's just too cool to come in here on a Sunday morning. The real cool kids, the real cool adults that have to come in here on an Easter, that have too much to do on a regular Sunday. I want to preach to you this morning because that was me. I'm not knocking you, that was me. I was too cool for this superstition up here today. Listen, I want to preach to the people here this morning who don't have mothers and fathers, that lost the people that they love, that raised them. Those are the people I want to talk to here this morning because I know something about it here today. And I'm not here to tell you that I know everything about the Bible and I know how exactly how my God works. Listen, I want to preach to those people just like me who was atheists that didn't believe in this silly thing up here. And that's what I would tell people. You're looking for a justification this morning as to why you can get away with sin and all the bad things. No, I'm telling you here today, listen, this thing up here, it's as real as I am standing here in front of you this morning. This thing is just as real as my next breath. And that Lord that I'm going to tell you about here this morning supplied me that breath here today. Listen, He supplied this body here. I'm telling you, I'm not here to tell you how this universe was painted, how it was created. You see, when I was in that way, when I didn't believe, that's how I wanted to do things. How did He create humans? Where did we come from? Listen, look at this universe. How was it made? I'm here to tell you today, just like I told Pilgrim's Prayer last weekend, I have no idea how any of this works. I really don't. I have no idea how He created this universe. I have no idea how He created humans. I have no idea. But I'm telling you here today, that's what I love about this God I serve. I have no idea how He works, but He's still wonderful here today. He can still do the impossible because it wasn't too long ago. The impossible was done inside of here. I'm talking about a God that's big enough to hold the entire universe in the palm of His hands, but yet still small enough to fit down inside this old dark heart of mine here this morning. That sounds impossible. It is, and that's God. He is impossible. And I love it here this morning that I can stand up here and tell you these things and know in my heart that this man came down over 2,000 years ago knowing exactly what I was going to do and died for me and died for you. What a burden you carry today. Do you feel sorry for yourself right now? Listen, you have no reason this morning to be feeling sorry for yourself. All the worst of the work that could have been done for you has already been done.
Yes.
I do feel sorry for the cool kids this morning. I do feel sorry for those who live for this world.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for those who pray for Washington. That's where you want your answers. Love this morning, we want it legislated. That's why there is no love here today. You can't write love on a piece of paper. You can't pass it through Congress.
Not a word, is it?
There's more people that probably show up to vote in one day than there is that go to church throughout an entire year. That's what we've become.
Yep.
Look how much further we keep sliding and sliding and sliding further away from God. Every day. In working places, we're still guilty. We wasn't just guilty then, we're guilty now. I'm going to be guilty when I leave here today. I know I'm going to fail somewhere.
That's right.
You're going to fail as soon as you get out of here. I might fail while I'm up here, when I sit back down. But that's what I love here this morning. That just like Brother Jeremy said, there is mercy. And Brother Jeremy, you needed that mercy. I needed that mercy. You needed that mercy. Where were you a year ago when it was Easter? I'll tell you where I was. I was sitting at home because of COVID-19. We didn't have church here. And even if we would have had church, Brother Larry, where was Sister Carol? You know, we are those kind of people. Even when we're Christians, when something happens, we have to ask why. Why God this? Why God that? It was Easter last year and I sit there thinking, feeling sorry for myself. Why God? Do I have to watch them preaching on the internet in Kentucky? I can't even go out to my own church. Why God? That my whole family here in North Carolina, we go to church and Sister Carol's in a nursing home and none of us can even go visit her because of the restrictions. Listen, I'll tell you why here today. Because there's somebody in this world that isn't one of us maybe, that isn't a child of God, that's going to go through the same things we're going through. What examples do they have if we don't suffer them here today? And you think you're suffering something here, read about this God that I'm telling you about. Read about Jesus for a moment. You haven't suffered anything yet, but there's a day coming, brother, where everything He done for us, it's going to come full circle, and you're going to have an opportunity to be one in that number. Do you have loved ones in this world that have left, and you miss them, and they were children of God? It doesn't have to be goodbye. It doesn't have to be here today. That's your decision here today. Listen, if you want to be a child of God, listen, I'll tell you here this morning, it's going to take you and nobody else. If there was a prayer here this morning that could be said, Brother Larry, to save this room, I guarantee you would have said it when you was down here. But Mommy and Daddy, they can do a lot of things for you, but they can't save your soul. Grandpa and Grandpa, they can do a lot of things for you, but I'll tell you here today, they can't save your soul. I remember being a young boy going to a youth group. This is the kind of churches we go to now, where I went to a little youth group, went down into a basement, and one of those brothers at that church stopped me on the way out because we was down there eating pizza and having a good time. And he said, Shad, I want you to pray with me. I'm 16 years old. I'm an atheist. I'm sitting there thinking, why did you have to pick me out of all those people you could have picked? He got down and I couldn't tell you a word he said. I didn't care what he was saying, but he prayed, I think. I'm not even sure. And then he got up off his knees and he said, well, I just want to say congratulations. You've been saved. And you want to talk about the way this world views us here today. You ever see those crazy preachers on TV and the way they act? God, here this morning, He told me I needed a $40 million jet. Listen, I'm talking about a Lord who rode in on a donkey into some of these places. He could have took flight if He wanted to, and He's given you an opportunity to take flight one day. My grandfather, an old regular Baptist preacher, came and picked me up from that youth group, and I got in the truck, and he asked me what was wrong, and I said, well, that man over there, he came and he told me I was saved. He got down, said a prayer, and told me I was saved. I'll tell you, I could have went through the windshield. He hit the brakes so hard, and he got out, and I felt sorry for the man, just pointing his finger in his face, and he got back in the truck. We could have went straight home, but no, we took the long way around, and I'm here to tell you today exactly what he told me. He asked me, he said, do you feel like you're saved? Has anything changed? I said, no, it hasn't changed. He said, that's good, because because one day it will, and there's nobody in this world that can do it for you. He said, Shad, I pray for you every day. If there was a prayer in this world that could be said to save your soul, I would have already said it. He said, but there isn't one. He said, one day you're going to be so brokenhearted, and you're not going to know where to go, and you're going to have to find this out for yourself. And Brother Larry, he ain't living now, but I'll tell you here, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. I can't think of a time when he was. And I remember the day that I found my Lord, how that just went through my mind. Why, God? When my grandmother left this world, why, God? I wasn't a Christian then. I loved her more than, she was my mother. When she left this world, when I was a young boy, I used to probably, 8, 9, 10, I can remember plain as day, when it would be summer breaks and we'd be at home, you could smell the food cooking all day long. She would stay at home and she'd wake up in the morning, there'd be breakfast and the food for dinner's already cooking. It was just good old times, I could go outside and didn't have to worry about the world. Nobody stopping and abducting me. You know how it is now. I'm afraid for my children to walk 10 feet outside my house and I live in the middle of nowhere. But she used to go to sleep and we'd take naps probably about 11, 12 or something like that. And she would lay in her bed and she'd just put her hands like this right here and she would just pray. And it would put me to sleep. And she would fall asleep with her hands like that right there on her chest. I remember the morning that they called me and told me she had passed away. And I'd went there before the funeral home people had taken her away, and I'd seen my whole family. The first time I'd ever seen tears in my grandfather's eyes, and he wasn't in church. And listen, and I knew that. I knew it was real then when I seen that man crying. And the funeral home people asked me, "Do you want to go see her?" And I was trying to be the tough boy that I was. I said, "Sure." And I went back into that room, and there she laid, there on that bed with those hands just like this right here. And I'm telling you, that has haunted me ever since, because I know what that was. When she would go to sleep, she would be praying, she was talking to somebody. It wasn't just the hands laying on her chest, it was the smile on her face, laying there dead to this world, with that smile and those hands just like this. She was talking to somebody before she closed her eyes. And I believe she's sitting there waiting on the other side. Oh, my God, I'll tell you why here this morning. I remember not too long ago when me and Rachel had lost a baby. Listen, we were brokenhearted, and I'm trying to think of every way in the world to get some kind of comfort here today. And it's not an easy thing to do. My grandmother used to tell me all the time, she loved me to death. She said, "I can't wait until you have children so I can spoil them." And you know what? She never got to see Delilah. She was gone before Delilah was born into this world. Let me tell you here this morning, I remember when we lost that baby, my friend Chris, somebody who doesn't proclaim to be a Christian at all, gave me a call. He was just like me growing up. We got into everything together, and he said, "Man, I'm going to pray for you because I know that's what you would do for me." And I couldn't help but think, God, thank you here this morning. If it could cause one person to pray and maybe change their ways, and it's all worth it. But then I thought about my grandmother wanting to spoil my children. Listen, that little baby was never sinning in this world, never committed the first sin, and gone on to what I believe to be heaven. I believe that I believe she's there, Brother Larry. And you want to talk about being spoiled? There ain't no better place in this world. There ain't no better place in this universe than to have spoils like there is in heaven's land. So much that we can't comprehend it this morning. And you think here this morning, why me? Why me? God has a plan here today. I'm going to tell this and I'm going to get out of the way. I'll tell you, when I was a little boy, y'all know that I didn't have a dad, and I was raised by my grandparents, and my mom, she had moved right next to my grandparents and was living on their land. And I stayed over there quite a bit. When I got older, though, I started staying with my mother, but my mother came to me multiple times when I was growing up. I would see my dad sporadically. He would show up from time to time. And She told me one day your dad called. It was early in the morning. I just came over to her house. And she said, your dad called and he's going to come pick you up today. And I've heard this a million times. And you want to talk about being proud, being a young boy like that, not having parents that you want to try to impress them when you do see them. So me, being the little boy that I was, went and grabbed everything that I thought I had that was worth something, some kind of value. And you know what? I was filling up. I had this little Ninja Turtle backpack that I used to take everywhere, and I filled it up with all my action figures, all my little books that I thought was cool. I was ready to impress him, and I had those things on my back, sitting there on the couch from that morning to that night. I would fall asleep with that thing on my back, listen, and I think about that sometimes. Why, God, would you let something like that happen to me? I'll tell you here this morning, quit feeling sorry for yourself. Listen, I would take Jackson, that little boy back there, to meet his parents on his visits, and I'd have to see the disappointment on this little boy's face when they didn't show up. That's why here this morning I'm there to console those. Listen, who went through the same things I have, because I've got something better than this world. And the things in my past, they don't matter anymore. But I can take all those hardships. I can take all that pain. I can take all those things, and I can make everything around me better. I can make the world a better place. Don't feel sorry for yourself here this morning. Jesus did everything for you. All that pain, He suffered it for you. When we put Him on that cross, we thought we'd ended it right there. Put Him in a tomb. 3 days later, He's gone. But He is coming back one day. I truly believe it. I believe that. All the things of this world, all the things that this world is telling you is right. Listen, stay straight on this. Keep looking up. There is a better way.
Yes, there is.
All your problems, you can use that here today. I've got problems all over. They're just opportunities here today to serve God. Every problem you have this morning is just an opportunity to serve Him a little bit harder.
Somebody's watching you.
We were being prepared and preparing ourselves for the day that Jackson went back home. And then we get the call that his parents just disappeared. And we knew probably what was going on. I'm never optimistic about those kind of things. I've seen what drugs do to people. Drugs will take dads and moms and they'll forget about their children just to get that fix. That's what they'll do. And I kind of figured that's what was going on. And again, I find myself thinking, we're making all these preparations, we're planning these vacations, and we've done our part, and now they've disappeared on us. Why, God? I'll tell you why. I get to keep this little fella safe longer. I get to preach to him just a little bit longer. And maybe they'll keep messing up. Maybe one day they'll get so desperate that they'll say, I have to see my son, and DSS won't give him a visit, and I can tell them about a little church in Mount Airy, and say, you want to see your son? Come through those doors. He's going to greet you, and he's going to show you all the things in this building. He's going to clap when the songs are done being sung. He's going to clap when the preaching's over. Listen, and maybe a word will get spoken up here, just like it did to me one day when I was too cool for this thing up here, when I was the man. Listen, and I'd walk through those church doors. The Word of God put me in my place. Not these brothers, not those brothers in Kentucky. It's the Word of God that put me on my knees. Listen, it's the fear of who I am that put me on my face in the coal mines, asking God to forgive me in a place where I could take a cell phone and never get reception. I went down on my face and cried out to this man, and he was right there. When the rest of this world couldn't reach me, Jesus Christ was able to reach me 7 miles under the ground. When God works, you know it. But when they were at the tomb, Mary Magdalene, this has been all over my mind for weeks. How she came there and Jesus was gone. She went and told the disciples when it came back, and there was a man there that asked her, basically why she was crying. And the Bible says that she thought it was the gardener there. It was Jesus that was talking to her. Mary wasn't a bad person from what I can read. But see how you get sometimes. When things don't go right. Yeah, we all get hurt sometimes. We all kind of feel sorry for ourselves sometimes. But look at how such a simple action. Jesus was talking to her and she thought it was the gardener. If you take anything from me here today, take that you need to be listening. You need to keep your ears and your eyes open. Don't mistake my Lord for the gardener here today. When He speaks to you, you listen. Because I'm telling you, for over 19 years, almost 20 years, I pushed this man away. Listen, have you ever offered someone help and they refuse it? They're too good for it. Or I can do it on my own. After a while, you withdraw that help. For 19 years, listen, for the majority of that, I told people that God wasn't real. Listen, I've done things that I shouldn't have done, things that I don't even want to talk about up here. But the moment I was brokenhearted and down on my face and had nowhere else to go, and I was confused, and everything in this world couldn't help me, I cried out to Him, and He was right there still. When I pushed Him away for so long, He was waiting on me. Still waiting on me. That's love here today. That is love here this morning. I'm going to give way and let them come on with their arrangements.
Very good.
If you take anything from me here today, I'll tell you, you're not cool enough. You're not too good for this. You're not good enough. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. I don't care who your mom and dad is. I don't care if your spouse doesn't believe. If your spouse doesn't believe, you got work to do. Come out. Show this world. There's nobody in this world that should be able to hold you back from serving God.
That's right.
Except for you. You are the only one.
That's right.
I don't want any excuses here this morning. None. Your car breaks down, you walk. It's snowing, get some chains. Call somebody. Because I know that my Lord didn't have to come down from the throne of glory for me, but He did. I wouldn't. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could send my son for you.
Nobody could.
And it's the same people, some of us could try to play now, say, oh yeah, to say, no, you wouldn't. Not if you love your children like I love my children. Or at least what I think is love. That's what's good about God here this morning. I don't understand Him. But He loves me. And He blesses me. When I have no idea what His next move is. But it takes faith here this morning. Just lean on Him. Don't try to get ahead of God. You'll never get ahead of Him. You'll never get behind Him. You'll never get beside Him. Because He's that good. That's how good He is this morning. I love Him here today, and I hope that I said something that pulled at somebody. And if I didn't, I hope Jeremy did. And if he didn't, I hope Brandon does.
That's
and
right.
if they don't, the last song it sung, I hope it breaks you in two. I hope it breaks your heart. Because that's what it takes here this morning.
Yes.
It takes a little bit of that heartache. You have to realize you are not good enough and you haven't been living right. Even if you are saved here this morning, I'm telling you, you ain't living right. We ain't. We just don't. We don't. We can always do better, Brother Larry.
Yep.
It's up to you. This is all I know how to do. I know that if the Lord were to split that eastern sky right now, I truly believe I would go with Him. I truly do. And if there's someone under the sound of my voice that thinks, maybe, no, you're doing it wrong. Have faith here this morning. Step out on that faith here today. Let me get out of the way, because it's easy for me to just stand up here and keep telling you how much I love God and how much He's done for me, because it just won't stop. Every day it's something new. Every day I'm blessed just a little bit harder. Every day when I wake up next to my best friend, I feel a little bit more blessed. Every day that I get to see Jackson speaking just a little bit better, and Hannah just smiling just a little bit more, and my kids getting just a little bit taller, a little bit smarter, that just shows me how blessed I am. And if I wake up tomorrow sick, stricken down, just like so many people that we know, just like his prayer list, just like you a year ago, I'm telling you here today, my God, He can fix these things. You can go to the doctor here today. I did the same thing when I was brokenhearted. But when I was looking for God God. I went to the emergency room I don't know how many times and told them I never like going to the doctor, but I'm dying. I can't breathe when I go to bed at night. I feel awful. And the doctors, there's nothing wrong with you. You're healthy. But they'll give you medicine. They'll do everything they can to physically keep you in the flesh. But I'm telling you, I'm talking about a man that will take your spirit and let you live forever.